Welcome back to the second last episode, and what a banger it is. This gets into it when both Waltrip and Chicky start making moves to make Dwight's territory their own. This episode is named Happy Trails, and trust me when I tell you that you want to stay until the end. So, as always, spoilers ahead and enjoy. We begin by going over 25 years ago where both Chicky and Vincent are causing trouble. A man owes them money and they took it upon themselves to torture him for the fun of it. Armand pleads for them to stop as they just ignore him and continue. After he goes out and makes a call to Dwight and gives him the address, he goes back inside to see a horrific scene. They are treating the man as if he is a horse and burning a sign on him. Whilst doing it, Dwight enters the room and both Chicky and Vincent shit themselves when they see him. He tells them to back off and to give him the keys. They start looking for them, but they seem to have lost it. Simultaneously, the rod with fire on it was thrown onto a newspaper, and as they go to stomp it out, it starts blaring out of control. Dwight goes to rescue the man, and when he can't rip the chains off, Chicky screams at him to leave and runs off. Dwight then shoots the cuffs twice, still not breaking them. As Armand and everyone leaves, he looks at the man and apologizes. The man pleads for mercy, but to Dwight, this is a mercy killing. He pulls the trigger and walks out of the building where the police were waiting for him and arrest him, which leads to him getting 25 years. Come to the current day, he is still having headaches with the police as they question him on who shot Stacy and himself. He, as usual, didn't hear and didn't see nothing. A man then walks in stating he is Dwight's lawyer and immediately tells the cops what Dwight's charges are. They said they were still thinking, and to that he tells Dwight let's go as they walk out. Like the gentleman he is, he goes straight to the hospital and sees Stacy on the bed. He simply tells her that he owes her his life and cannot ever repay what she did for him. She just sits there and takes the compliments as he leaves the flowers and goes. As usual, it's time for another enraged Waltrip therapeutical session, and as the bikers hide their bikes, he does not disappoint. He begins with saying that there shall be no hiding and that no one will rest until every man in Dwight's crew is dead. One of his men say there is too much heat and he is immediately dealt with. The rest of them just stand there in disbelief. After Dwight's release, he is pissed and decides to put up a bounty on Waltrip. He then tells Armand that shit is about to hit the fan, and after this there is no turning back. Armand says he will never chicken out ever again and that he just found out Chicky is in town and he'll prove he is now a fighter. Armand's intel was on point, and as Chicky complains about the weather to his boys, he immediately gets up as he sees Dwight walking towards him. Dwight might be 76, but he doesn't care one bit about conflict. He tells Chicky that he didn't tell him he landed in Tulsa and straight away gets to the point. Chicky banished him to Tulsa to die, so he can buzz off and leave him here alone. Vincent tells him to respect the new leader of the family and Dwight tells him to shut up. He walks to Goody and tells him that he has 3 seconds to decide whether he wants to be with him or working under a moron. Goody immediately chooses Dwight. And to that, Dwight points to 2 shooters, then another 2. He tells Chicky that he will be escorted to the airport and can get out of his town. He turns his back as a sign of disrespect and him and his boys leave. Later on, he has a meeting with his crew and introduces Goody to them, saying he is now a member. He looks at his crew and tells them they have 2 decisions. 1, that they can turn around and walk away without an issue. Or 2, they can stay and fight fear from within and then wait for their enemies to strike and make sure to hit them back twice as hard. Everyone agrees to stay and walk towards Dwight. This has to be one of the best scenes so far this series. Dwight walks into Bodie's abode and asks him if he can use his tech with skills to somehow siphon out Waltrip's cash. He says he'll give it a shot. He cracks his neck and does some mad work, using Binance, MetaMask and a few hacker tools. He manages to lock onto the laptop that some FBI were looking at and sees $8+ million. He laughs and says that's a lot of money. No, that was a lot of money. He siphons out the funds as the officers call their boss, telling him they have a problem. This man needs some immediate angry issue therapy as he completely loses it. He sees his account at $0 and throws his laptop in a tantrum. Back at the hospital, Stacy gets a get well soon card. She opens it and it's from Dwight. It has a USB inside and she fires up her laptop and puts the USB inside. To her shock, it has $1 million inside and she cannot believe it. After Dwight's long day, he goes to kick back and play cards with the boys. But then, they hear Harley's outside. Everyone looks at Dwight, and he simply says, "Go." Everyone sprints into action as they set up some tripwire on the door and get behind the counter as the bikers outside get locked and loaded. Waltrip is at the front and they go inside the front of the building. As they slowly begin walking in, the first few men trip the wire, and as it blows up, Dwight and his men pop up from the counter and start firing. Waltrip uses his man as a shield and manages to get behind cover. Tyson gets shot at as Dwight takes a few out. Armand also gets shot as his crew keeps firing. Dwight is officially pissed off and goes after Waltrip. He smacks him and runs him into the wall. He uses his own gun and fires the bullet, finally finishing him off. He looks back and sees the rest of his men standing and all the bikers dead. He just looks at the blood and chaos and just stands there, soaking it all in. 3 months go by, and Tina has moved to Tulsa with her dad. Both his grandsons are there and we can see pure happiness in Dwight for the first time. He decides to ride the horse to show off in front of his family as they have a great time with Pilot. Stacy has recovered very well in 3 months and her fellow officers commend her for her previous policing history. They tell her she will be reinstated even after conversing with a known felon. That they have just one condition. We move on to the last scene of this action-packed episode where they rebuilt Bread 2 Buck. Everyone is there and they all survived. Mitch is leading a band and just hanging out with the new gambling license they just secured. Dwight is hanging out when Fred walks up to him and whispers that there is a girl asking for you outside. As he opens the door, he is happy to see Stacy there. But all she says is, "I'm sorry, I just want to say. I hope she doesn't survive the remainder of the series." This new red hair look and this attitude will not be dealt with lightly by Dwight. The coppers then hold up the USB and say he is trying to bribe an officer. They go to put him in the car when Tina runs out. She runs to Dwight and is once again living her trauma of her dad going away in cuffs. They drive off and Dwight just sits there, fueled by rage of betrayal. Next episode is the season finale, and if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do so. Until the next one, thank you.